You are listening to the Manument Podcast. My name is Casey, and I'm here with my buddy Glenn Johnson, investment advisor and founder of Jabez Financial right here in the Uncasville area. In every episode, he is here to break down today's biggest retirement worries and headlines for us. All right, Glenn, let's get into the good stuff, shall we?
Great.
Let's do it. I was listening to a woman named Fiona Gregg this week on the Decoding Retirement podcast. She's the head of investor research at Vanguard, and she called retirement the most complex time of our lives. Take a listen.
There's such an opportunity to improve and simplify these financial decisions for people. This is probably the moment in their lives in which their financial lives are the most complex. The typical person in their 50s has not one, but probably 3 or more 401k accounts, plus a 1 or 2 IRAs. So this is a very financially complex moment in their lives. And can we help those who perhaps just might not know what to do at this moment?
So I wanted to get your thoughts on this, Glenn. Do you agree with her? And how can a financial advisor like yourself help simplify retirement planning for people?
You know, I definitely agree with her on this because over the years, people go from job to job. They collect different 401k accounts. They'll establish an IRA here and there just because to reduce their tax burden in any one year. So people are making some smart decisions along the way. You've got all these puzzle pieces that need to get put together. They need to be organized. And when you're not using these tools every day, you don't necessarily know how to put them together so that they can work towards a unified goal. We're all ignorant on a different set of subjects. And so I don't pretend to be an expert on everything, but I do like to get enough information so that I can determine whether or not if someone I'm talking to thoroughly understands what they're talking about. That's why I like to educate my clients on how these tools work so that when we put them together, not only will the plan work, they'll understand how and they'll understand why it will accomplish exactly what they're looking to achieve.
Well, so it resonated with me what she was saying, that the average person has all these different accounts. I'm in my mid-30s, but I had 3 different 401ks, I think, and a Roth IRA. And, you know, I feel overwhelmed by it all. So let me ask you this. For somebody feeling overwhelmed by all those moving parts of retirement, what's the first thing that a financial advisor like yourself would help them tackle if they came to see you?
Well, one of the things I like to do is classify the assets, whether they're qualified or non-qualified. Do you have retirement accounts? You can group all the pre-tax accounts together. You can group your after-tax accounts together. And then you start earmarking, well, is this an area that I need to grow for future income? Or is this an account I need to grow for emergency reserves? Or is this an account that I want to have set aside for gifting or vacations? So you can earmark different funds in different types of asset classes to achieve different objectives. You think about it's almost like when you open up a puzzle, you can't tell what the picture is. So what do? You start separating things like, all right, here are the corner pieces, here's the cornerstones, or here's the perimeter of the puzzle. And then we can start grouping some things together. And as we start to group things together, you can start to formulate what this is going to look like and say, you know what? I do have all the necessary pieces here. Now, sometimes keep in mind when somebody's putting this puzzle together, there may be a missing piece. And sometimes you don't find out what that missing piece is until it's the last one. And then that's when you realize, there must be a piece of the puzzle under the couch. But this is where we can figure out what it is that you need to fill that gap. So I invite you to give us a call at 860-288-9977, and let's see what puzzle pieces you're working with financially and put the framework together and establish a plan that's going to help you achieve exactly what you're looking to accomplish.
I like how you frame it that way, Glenn. Retirement is truly like a puzzle, and incorporating the help of a professional to help you put it together can really help make all the difference for you. And I just want to remind people, Glenn's right here in Uncasville. He has been helping families in Connecticut build stronger retirement plans for years. So I don't want you to miss out on your chance to meet with him. So that number for you one more time, it's 860-288-9977. And you can get on Glenn's calendar for a complimentary introductory conversation, 860-288-9977. Or you can always visit us at jabezfinancial.com and you can get connected with us that way. All right, Glenn, I've got a situation that I want to get your take on. Personal finance expert Susie Orman hosts a podcast called Women and Money, and a woman wrote into her and said she's torn about her pension decision. Should she take a $450,000 lump sum or a $3,000 monthly check? Well, Susie answered that if you take the $3,000 a month for life, you run the risk of the pension program being changed or even ending, and there's no legacy for when you die. So her advice was take that 450 lump sum, split it, put some in an annuity and invest the rest. And together with Social Security, she thinks that this woman should be fine. So wanted to get your take here, Glenn. What are your thoughts? What would you have told this woman to do?
There's always more to the story. So when advice like that is given off of, well, this is the lump sum and this is the income I could get, you can provide like a cookie cutter answer. That's to say, well, take half of it in a lump sum and put the rest of it in an income annuity. And between the income from the annuity and Social Security, you should be fine. However, there's so much more to consider, which is interesting, like how pension buyouts are even calculated. And now in this case, she'd have the option of choosing $3,000 a month or $450,000 in a lump sum. Well, $450,000 invested with an 8% return would provide that $3,000 a month. But the amount that you would get as an option for a payout in a pension is contingent upon interest rates. For example, it would take an 8% return to provide that $3,000 a month. Well, if interest rates are only at 4%, now it would cost $900,000 to provide that $3,000 a month. And with pensions, what they're promising is the income amount, not the lump sum amount. And that's why, as if interest rates drop as you get older, the value of the pension fund could increase. If interest rates go up as you get older, the buyout option of the pension could decrease. That's always a moving target. So when someone gets nearing retirement, we have to look at what are interest rates at that point in time and really evaluate. You can't just decide, well, I'm going to take the lump sum or I'm going to take the payout. You have to look at what all your options are the month you go to retire. That's when that decision needs to be made. And then we also think about some other things to consider. Is there a surviving spouse? If there's no surviving spouse and you've chosen the payout, all of that money is gone. Kind of like paying into Social Security. If you don't have a surviving spouse or underage children, when you pass away, that Social Security stops, whether you've collected a dime of it or not. If you haven't collected anything, Social Security fund keeps all of it. So we want to make sure we're maximizing the benefit of the effort that we've put in to accumulate those dollars. And so we have to look at it at that point in time when someone goes to retire. Is it wise for them to take the lump sum? Or in some cases, does it make more sense to take the payout?
When somebody does take that lump sum, let me ask you this, Glenn. What are some of the biggest mistakes you've seen people make when they take that lump sum and then they try to manage it themselves?
Oh gosh, well, you know what? When you take the lump sum, you do have to manage those dollars with a different mindset. You can't manage those dollars with, I'm just going to throw it in the S&P 500 and hope for the best over the next 10 years because over 15 years, the market's always up. No, you have to treat those dollars with the same mindset as a pension fund manager. You can't look at it like a day trader and say, well, the stock is up this month. No, you don't want to take those dollars and gamble them because you don't want to gamble your source of future income because there's no going back. There's no replacing it. It's not like you have 15 years or 10, 15 years for the market to recover when you're taking an income out of it during that time frame. So you have to look at it with a different perspective, with a more professional perspective on adequate management so that you can count on the income always being there.
I think moral of the story, it's like you said, Glenn, there are a lot of factors to consider here, and working with a professional can help you make that best decision for whatever your personal situation may be. Dialing 860-288-9977 is the perfect place to start. Glenn has set aside those 5 spots on his calendar for an introductory conversation. 860-288-9977. Take advantage while you can, or you can head to our website. It's jabezfinancial.com, and you can get connected with us that way. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Manument Podcast. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcasts so that you never miss an episode, and we will see you next time. Take care.
Investment advisory services offered through Jabez Financial, LLC, a registered investment advisor firm. Registration is not an endorsement by securities regulators. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities, offered through Glenn Johnson, Connecticut Insurance, license number 4628409. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Jabez Financial, LLC. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Jabez Financial, LLC is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Jabez Financial, LLC is licensed in your state, please call 860-390-0093.